Hey, everybody. Michelle is in the building. I look like I've been working, right? Well, that's because I have been. I'm usually always, there's always something to do. You know, when you have a house, there's always something to do. But anyway, I'm getting ready to run some errands on this Friday. Overcast, kind of warm. And one thing about me in the past, I used to love to just get in my car and drive to certain places. That was very comforting, you know, just drive to certain cities, to certain states. I've done all of that. I've driven all the way up to Chicago at one point. And I'm not sure, for a reason. I think I had to go up there for a reason, but I can't remember. I'm sure it was just something business related or maybe something personal. Well, anyway, I've driven to the whole East Coast, most of it. And I know one time my plan was to go over to the West Coast because I had moved in with my parents for the second time because my mom, I noticed my mom was having some issues and I wasn't sure what happened, and then then she started having a lot of health issues. So I decided to move back in there with them just to help until my dad retired, which was a few years later. I stayed in there with them as long as I could. It was difficult, being an adult and being independent as I am and continue to be. It's hard to go back in the house with your parents. Woo, that was hard. And the thing is that what was so hard about it is how everybody just would show up unannounced. And that's how it was in most black cultures, because we didn't have phones. And so, that's how we did it. Relatives would just show up. Sometimes they used to show up in the middle of the night, and I can remember having to get my ass out of my bed, get on the floor somewhere, sleep on the floor, so my bed can be available for the relatives. I didn't like that, but you know what? I got over it. Because that's just how it was done. How it was for black culture. Sometimes it was safer to travel through the middle of the night, so you wouldn't be harassed and bothered by law enforcement. Usually, the most danger to black culture was law enforcement, and we just need to make that very clear and effective. It wasn't black on black crime, which was a perpetuated lie. It was law enforcement, FBI, CIA, or those informants and snitches and this and that and the other. They're the ones that cause more damage and harm to black culture. Okay, so, but anyway, I used to love to just get in even as a younger person, once I started driving, I love just getting in my vehicle and drive and drive and check out certain cities, like I said, certain states. And I remember, like I said, I was going to head to the West Coast. I was going to take I-10 and see how far I can handle I-10. And if I had to stop and get into, get me a hotel, I had that all planned out. But I think during that time there was a storm coming through, and if I'm not mistaken, it may have been Katrina. I can't remember. But I think it was Katrina was forecast to come through, so I had to make a detour. And so I made that detour to go. I said, well, you know what? Let me go south. So I went south, 95 south, and ended up deciding to stay there for a while. Got me extended stay. And I didn't have a job lined up, by the way, but I did have plenty of income, to support me on my venture. And so I ended up 95 South in a little South Florida town, which turned out to be a fantastic experience for me, even though there were some bumps, there were some difficulties, there was a whole lot of that. And my point is that comes with the territory, unfortunately. You're gonna have some bumps in the road. You're gonna have some difficulties. You're gonna have financial problems, and you're gonna have, all that stuff is gonna be, it's gonna show up. So just take a chance, do something different, and always be safe about it. I mean, right now I know the climate is so unpredictable, and so you don't want to get yourself in an area where you get stuck. You know, you need to make sure you have proper transportation, or just take a train. I plan to do the train route this time around, because I'm tired of driving. Shit, I've been driving for so many years. Now I want someone else to drive for me. You know, so whether it's what do they call them, ride sharing. But I'm going to do the train route. I want to do the train route and kind of explore some things, explore some cities and this and that and the other, and decide from there where I plan to live, you know, and set up shop, as they say. So, you know, you just really need to, and you can do things cheap. You don't have to be spending a whole lot of money on the stuff. You know, you can do things cheaply. I mean, I've been able to, I managed to live very cheaply. These last, since 20, I don't know. I'm not sure when I retired, but it's going on 2 years maybe. I don't know. But I allowed my money to stretch. I mean, I really did. It stretched. I think I cut my expenses, you know, I think I cut my expenses over 50%. And just cut back, you know, and manage what I was spending, watch what I was spending. But at the same time, always visualizing where I want to be. And like I said, 80 to 85% of the time, if I say I want to do something and I say I'm going to do something, it gets done one way or another. And, you know, usually it'll come to the, at the final hours of, oh my gosh, you know, where's my income going to come from? Blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I wasn't too concerned, because I knew if I had to, I could go back to my parents' house. So that was always a last option, but it was an option. So you always need an option, whether you like the option or not. And going back to my parents' house was always an option. My mom never wanted me to leave, and I was the last one to leave, and she always wanted me to stay. And I did. But then at some point, Michelle had to start taking responsibility for her life. And I'm talking about myself. At some point, I had to get out on my own and start taking responsibility for my life. Because I think I've said it on several videos, you know, I felt like I was behind the 8 ball because I waited so long to move out. But I stayed home. I stayed in my parents' house for a reason. Because I felt my mom was, having some issues, mental issues, in my opinion. And those are my experiences. And those are my observations. And I trust my experiences and my observations, but others will have their own perspectives and experiences, and that ought to not be a problem for anyone, no matter what type of household you had. No one of us are going to have the same experiences, okay? Because remember, I'm a visual. I picked up stuff visually. Now the rest of them, I have no idea per se. I think most of my brothers may be visual, but I think some of my brothers are visual and they're in their feelings too. Okay, and I think that's most of them. They're visual guys, but they are emotional too and in their feelings, and get all caught up in their feelings, in my opinion. So, and of course my sister is definitely auditory. Good Lord, she loves being on the phone. Oh my God. Woo. Ciao. But and she's easily distracted, because she loves to be on the phone, blah blah blah. Oh. But anyway, so you just need to have the confidence and knowing that there's nothing wrong with moving back in with your parents, especially if there's a parent living by herself or moving back in with a relative, especially if they're elderly and they live by themselves, and so that you can build up your income that way and just watch out for them and just be able to calm yourself down somewhere, and relax and be able to focus a little bit more and get a clear perspective on, okay, where do I want to be? Okay, where do I want to be? And you really need to be honest and realistic too. Not all of us can do not all of us can do certain tasks of responsibilities of a job. You know, all of us are creators, all of us, right? That I reach out to, but creatives get themselves in the most trouble, especially with homelessness and mental illness, being misunderstood, and sometimes addictions. So it's really, really important to always have a final backup, and I still have that final backup now. You know, if I need to go to my parents' house to hide, I'll do that. And then, you know, I let my siblings know that, you know, just so I can, you know, recollect myself. And there's nothing wrong with recollecting yourself. So I just wanted to share that, you know, while I'm running around handling my business and running some errands and getting myself set up for the second phase of my life, and, you know, working on my nonprofit, working on the website, you know, and doing everything I can to do stuff on my own, independently. Because, you know, it was so weird. Back in the day, I was able to build websites and self-publish books. But at the same time, you know, but now it's different. It's a little bit more digital, complicated, technical, and it's like that for a reason. You know, it's like that for a reason, so that you have to hire an outside source to help you with certain things. Marketing. I remember I took a marketing class, and I did all that, this and that and the other. I've done it all. And I had a large following back. I can remember back in the day. I don't remember specifically when. And so now it's not about the following, really. It's about helping people, and helping people to expand their consciousness, because it's about thoughts. It really is. And I am, you know, I have proof that I walk the talk. So, and me and others, we all have, you know, other people that work in the capacity that I do is about helping people to expand their consciousness and to improve their thinking, recreating cultures and healing, you know, not necessarily healing, but resolving misunderstandings. Okay, resolving the fact that, you know, certain groups were targeted, such as black culture, intentionally targeted, intentionally eroded. And so my job and my duty, actually, is to help recreate that, as well as warn people about, you know, the dangers we face and this and that and the other. So, you know, that's what I'm going to do. And, you know, and I'm going to, my goal is to be face to face with people, however, in like-minded groups, because we will have to, in order to repair the damage, we have to separate by like-mindedness and be around people that understand us. And that means black culture needs to navigate and create groups of black culture, like-mindedness. White people need to do the same thing. Asian culture, and especially the Spaniards, you know, the Spanish cultures. You know, you're going to have to be more unified, because you are used as well, to, especially around political seasons. You're used all the time and taken advantage of as well. And Asian cultures as well. Black culture is always infiltrated, and you know, and promises made, and, you know, get everybody all riled up, and then, you know, those crusaders disappear. That happens all the time as well. We know that. I know everybody pushes people to vote, and I think that's a personal opinion, and it should be private whether people vote or not. All right, to have everyone's private information online about whether they're a Democrat and Republican. Okay, that's life-threatening right there. You're putting people's lives online because you have all that personal information there for narcissistic predators and sociopaths, you know, to pick up that information and use it for nefarious purposes, which has always been the case. So I just wanted to share all of this morning. Well, it should be. It's still morning. Yes, it was. It's, you know, it's noon now. I just want to share this information while I'm taking me a ride. You know, dropping off this, picking up that, and you know, looking around, inspecting things, see what the neighborhood looks like, and You know, and I want to send peace and love all over the universe. I want to send peace and love to everyone. You know, doing the best you can, you know, to get through things the best way you can. And it means sometimes you have to do things differently. You're going to have to create your own method of success and what that means to you, and be realistic about it, okay? All right. I will definitely be back.